Hello and welcome to today's lecture on addressing plant disease within our AgriScience 1 class. We're picking up within our plant disease unit and we're going to be, we've already gone over bacteria and fungal diseases, and today we're just going to go over viral diseases. All right, class. So who here has heard of citrus greening? No?
Not.
Anyone have any guesses as to what citrus greening is?
Does it have anything to do with citrus?
It does. It is a disease that affects citrus here in Florida. It was very big. It's a very big issue currently, but a lot of research has been going into it. And here I have a video to get us started. Just screen this.
Teacher, I have a question. Can you pause this?
Yeah.
Does this only affect the taste of citrus, or does it actually harm the plant?
It harms. Well, the video goes into it, but it harms the plant. It doesn't allow it to like come to fruition, and it affects the look, so it doesn't make it marketable. But it mainly affects like the fruit.
Okay, got it.
You don't
Thanks
need
for
to ask questions, but thank you, Alex.
no, just a genuine question.
All right.
I'm interested.
Thank you. Alrighty, so there's just a little intro into what plant diseases are happening out in the world and how they're being addressed.
Amazing.
Yes, sir.
Um, so are they bioengineering citrus so they can be resistant to this bacterium?
That is one of the things that they've been like working on. Yeah, that's just like one solution. As we go deeper into the lesson, you'll see that like different viruses and bacteria are being addressed in different ways.
Okay.
Yeah, that's great. Okay, so our objectives for today are to address the growing issue of plant disease, specifically in Florida, and be able to form opinions on how to best address plant diseases within the means of the operation. May it be within gardening, horticultural slash landscaping type of way, or agriculture. We'll be going over agriculture primarily, but it can be applied to anything. And I want y'all to be able to use the given knowledge on plant disease and the worksheets I'm going to be giving you to express well-supported opinions in future essay settings. May it be an exam or a later assignment. So first we're going to be going over plant disease. What are they and why do they matter? So plant diseases can either be a virus, a bacteria, or a fungi. The citrus green we just saw is a bacteria carried by a vector, an insect, and diseases can impact the function of a plant or just simply affect its cosmetics in general. So if you could quickly brainstorm, why do you think plant diseases might be important?
Well,
Right.
apart from damaging like industries that rely on plant growth, it could also damage gardens, natural wildlife,
Yes,
or plant.
exactly. It also impacts just like the cost of operation, the profit margin, and such. I'm going to be sending right now a worksheet that you can be working on. That's one of the first questions. Sent. Um, and plant disease prevalence is influenced by three things: the presence of a pathogen, the environmental conditions, and then the plant being grown. So, do we have any guesses as to why those are? Sorry, why those are the biggest? Oh, why this is what influences plant disease the most?
Well, plants grow in the environment, so
Mhm.
environmental conditions can't really be influenced too badly unless they're indoor plants.
Mhm.
Um, Pathogens, if they're carried by a vector like insects, there's no real like solution to that, like because it insects are naturally drawn to plants unless you use a pesticide, and some plants are more predisposed to different diseases. So yeah, that's why some are more predisposed to getting ill, and why some diseases are particular to a certain species.
I like your use of the word predisposed because these factors are really have to do with like the predisposition. So just the fact that there is a pathogen around, maybe it's been imported recently, or maybe it's in season that it's like thriving. That's something that highly influences whether a plant disease is going to take root or not. And then the plants being grown, a lot of plants can transfer over their disease. So it depends on what plants you're growing. It's very possible to be growing two plants, and then the diseases of one plant can't influence the other. But if they're similar enough or they have enough similarities, there can be like a jump over, and agriculturalists can have failure of like both crops instead of just one crop.
So are all diseases contagious, or is it?
It depends on the plant and on the disease. On like once again, not like a citrus greening bacteria isn't going to affect like a rose, you know, and then something that affects maybe something things with like um, stone pits, like a cherry or peach. They're not going to be influenced in the same way as when you looking at like plant diseases in like let's say leafy greens. So there has to be like a commonality there.
So fruiting bodies wouldn't necessarily be affected by flowering plants,
It
or vice.
depends. because at the end of the day, fruiting plants do flower at one point and then they fruit. So it depends
Okay.
on like the relationship.
Right.
Kale and broccoli is the same plant technically. It's mustard.
Oh,
In fact, yeah, kale, broccoli, cauliflower, and like Brussels sprouts, all the same plant, just genetically engineered in like the 12th century.
oh, that's weird. Why is kale so gross then?
Um, Getting off topic, but I think it was bred for like nutrition.
Okay, got it.
And then the Florida specific diseases affecting agriculture. So now I'm going to set you off to find information on different viruses that affect Florida crops. And I want you to look at how the disease is transmitted, what the disease affects, like the part of the plant, if it's the fruiting body, the stem, the leaf, and what are the repercussions of disease to a farmer or a planter or just the person cultivating this plant. So you're going to be filling this out on your worksheet and then coming back and discussing it. So I will send y'all off into breakout rooms for a moment, about 3 minutes, and then we'll meet back. So, okay, there we go. Okay, so if Alex, you want to join into that breakout room? Yes, you're able to go. I'll set a timer for 3 minutes. Okay, so you're not being recorded in this
Okay,
area.
cool. Can I just talk about citrus greening? Like, I already know all the answers.
I actually think I made a mistake and I didn't say what you had to look at.
Yeah, you didn't, but I already know the answers if it's supposed to be citrus greening.
It's not citrus greening though. I had like a list of random things.
Okay, well, you said just look for some
I will
disease.
send you the information I have, then I'll go back and like clarify it.
What if I just be like, oh, I found this disease and this is what it does? So you don't have to go back and edit anything. Because all you said was find a disease that, like, in Florida.
All right, hit it.
I can just be like, this is the disease that I found. This is what it does. All right, sweet.
You're such a champ. It has to
I
be a
know. Right. Sorry, like you really picked a great student for this because I actually love ecology.
Okay, so yes, how it's transmitted, what the disease affects, and then the repercussions.
Just text it. Put it in the fucking chat. Not in
It,
this chat, the other chat.
but I'll put it in the chat. Yeah, I'll give you like a moment. Are you gonna find your own answers? Or do you want me to send them to you?
Give me answer. Oh, you're recording, by the way.
I know I am. That's supposed to stay there. Okay.
Okay. Put the answers in the yeah, whatever.
I don't know if this will show up in here.
Not in this room. It'll you have to put it in the other room. Just copy paste it, and when we go back to the other room, just paste it.
Oh, okay. Okay. I get what you're saying. Okay.
So I have to do a short little presentation.
Just like,
This is so much better than actual school because I can present in front of a friend.
really?
This is the plant I found. Do you want to see my cat? Can I show your teacher my cat?
Yes, you can, I guess.
Like
Yeah.
at the end, can I be like, show you my cat?
Yes.
Okay, so show you my cat really quick.
I already saw your cat.
Okay, look at her. I know, but she's asleep. Look at her. Look at my little hip bone. God.
No, she's not like to my teacher. Alex, please.
I'll put my shirt down. You're so lucky right now that my cat is asleep because when she is awake, she is relentless.
All right, welcome back, Alex.
Hello.
Are you almost ready?
Yeah, I do have I have a plant
Amazing.
or a disease. My bad.
Alrighty. So if we had another student here, they could have done one of these besides the citrus screening that you did, and they would have talked about that the disease, rose mosaic virus in this case, so the last one, is transmitted via pollen transfer, and it's only in roses. Well, the pollen transfer is only in roses, and it's the only proven means of transmission through like the It's only proven in the propagation through like cuttings of the plant. And some of the disease's effects are like bands or ring spots on the rose, wavy lines, yellow banding, oak leaf patterns on the petals, as well as just general mosaicing, so like splotches of like yellow and green on the leaves. And usually the symptoms are only on certain parts of the plants. And then some of the repercussions of the disease to farmers has been that it often occurs if it occurs in one part of the plant, you can cut that part off, but it'll eventually affect the rest of the plant. So once the plant's affected, it'll take out the entire crop. And for example, this affects roses, so it affects the viability of the crop to be like sold because it's no longer like aesthetically nice. So yes,
I think it looks
talk about citrus greening.
okay. So I have the one that I chose was citrus greening. It's a disease spread by a vector or an insect that's carrying that disease. Um, the Asian citrus psyllid. Sorry, that's what I put on my worksheet. I don't know how to pronounce that. Um, it's put the future of America's citrus at risk, specifically those in Florida and California. The trees that are infected, they produce fruits that are green or misshapen or bitter, and they're unsuitable for sale as fresh fruit or for juice. The disease doesn't pose any real threat to humans or animals, but because it affects the taste, nobody really wants to eat those. So it has devastated millions of acres of citrus crops throughout the United States.
Awesome. Thank you, Alex. Thank you for sharing
No
that.
problem.
Um,
Oh, and it affects the repercussions because they're bitter, it can't be sold, so farmers can't sell them, and there's
that's
no market for
yeah.
plants that carry that disease.
So, alrighty. So, what did you find about your assigned disease? Yes. Okay. So now that you know more about the different types of possible diseases, since we both spoke, and their repercussions, let's spend some time looking into um, if the disease can be prevented in any way, or if there's like a solution once disease takes hold. So, and we want to focus on how effective these measures are, and more importantly, how feasible they are economically, or just within like the bounds of science. I'll give you about 3 or 4 minutes once again, split you into little breakout rooms, and then we'll come back and chat.
Thank you, ma'am.
Awesome. I will join Alex and then come back because I feel awkward just sitting here staring at the screen. If I was doing this assignment Curl in class, I'd stay here and then like I'd bounce for a moment or two to each one, ask them if they understood the questions clearly, and then ask how far along they were be. So I'd go in the beginning, and then maybe 2.5 minutes in, check. Last time Alex needed a bit more time, so I gave him more time. And I think it went up to like 4 or 5 minutes. So I'd go back and check. I will join Alex now.
I can fit my tongue between my teeth.
You put what between your teeth?
I can fit my tongue between the gap of my teeth.
You're so funny.
Look.
Wow. I can't do that yet.
I know, right? Try harder, bitch.
Alex. I'll just edit. I'm pretty sure this doesn't show up with the thing, so I'll Google your answers.
Okay, all I know right now is the bioengineering one.
Mm-hmm. That's a really good answer. How effective are citrus?
So they're like using vaccines with that virus to genetically engineer plants that are immune to it.
I'm not quite certain.
Or vaccines I mean, from what I heard in the video, they're using the bacteria to create new plants that will not be affected by it.
Being done on the actual vectors, and then there's stuff being done to make the plants resistant. And I think there's also work being done to understand better.
All I can think about right now, the only options I can think about right now are pesticides, but that could affect the integrity of the plant if the pesticides are
once we go back
nasty, like it could affect growth.
Mm-hmm.
Because if it is transmitted by vectors, then the most feasible solution would be to put pesticides. But then again, there could be some insects that are just not immune. Because the whole thing going on with pesticides right now is that insects are growing to grow resistant to pesticides. So that might not be as effective. I love this.
You're using your brain. The issue is that not only do you make the vector to this disease resistant, now you're making similar insects to that one also resistant, like animals that pests that were previously being managed correctly. Because sometimes you only manage insects with pesticides to a certain degree, so you don't cause that resistance. So you only kill off 75% of them instead of 100, so they're not bred to have that resistance. But if you're on one farm where you're doing citrus greening and you're just going crazy on it, you might screw up for a neighboring farm.
So and also the whole controversy right now with pesticides is that when it rains, the runoff goes into the water supply and it hurts the native wildlife. When deer drink it or when raccoons drink all that pesticide shit, it hurts them because the rain creates runoff in farms. Farms are you know how farms are.
Yeah.
The runoff in farms could damage a bunch.
Okay, so currently there is no technically like a cure. The bug that carries it doesn't always carry it. Um, but you remember enough from the videos to kind of just like repeat that, right?
Which bug is it?
It is the it says AC,
I can repeat the genetically engineered stuff, and
and then can you say if it's
I can make up that pesticide.
That's perfect.
Yeah, I mean, it is pretty feasible. It would just like have a big economic toll, I think, because like scientists have to be like 24/7 researching on that. So it is a pretty feasible goal considering modern advances in technology and like science, but it would cost a pretty penny to get that underway.
You sound like an environmental scientist.
I just like I know I look stupid, but I'm actually pretty smart.
Yeah. Back to teaching. Okay, I will bring Alex back. Welcome back, Alex.
Hello.
So now we're going to be talking again, once again, about if the disease can be prevented, if there's a solution, how effective the solution is, and how feasible are the methods to the solution. So for the disease, I was looking up the rose mosaic disease. Once the plant is infected, there is no cure. The infected portions of the plant can be cut off, but the infected plant should be removed and destroyed entirely from the rest of the crop because it can, once again, the disease can spread from place to place. So really it's preventing the disease from entering. So making sure that shipments coming in aren't carrying this disease, making sure that the farms nearby don't have this disease, to keeping account for tracking outbreaks nearby, things like that. Once you have the disease, only solution is to burn everything or burn as much as you can as soon as you can so it doesn't spread. But when you do cut off a part, usually the rest of the plant will start having the disease also. So there isn't really a solution. The solution is really just getting rid of everything. So that's extremely effective and honestly not that feasible because you're destroying your entire crop, but it's what's being done. It's the best that's being done right now. All
Okay.
right. Alex, hit us with citrus greening.
Okay, so citrus greening. What I remember from the video is that so right now scientists are currently bioengineering a form of citrus that isn't affected by this bacterium. So that while it is feasible, is not economically sound because the costs of sorry, my cat. The cost of scientists' labor and all the studies that will be done trying to figure that out would be a pretty penny. Another option would be pesticides because the bacterium is carried by a vector, an insect. But again, that also has its disadvantages, as not all pesticides are effective against insects since they're now growing immune to pesticides due to so much usage in the agriculture market. And also when it rains, the runoff could hurt nearby wildlife. So those are also things to consider when it comes to preventing these diseases.
Definitely. And those pesticides have to be sometimes just species specific and address just one species. And that's also puts a lot of money onto research and can be kind of unfeasible because how usually you address only one pest is by affecting some type of hormone it has, and producing artificial hormones is very unfeasible in that it costs a lot of money. All right, we're about to wrap up on the class. Before I change the slide, I just wanted to go through what we've been talking about throughout the class. So we brought up the problem of plant disease. We realized why it's important to address. And then we went into ways that different diseases that there is, how they're being addressed, and how they can continue to be addressed, and how we can find solutions to these problems. We discovered different solutions for each problem, and we saw there's different perspectives and different options.
Got
So
it.
please turn in your worksheets to be graded or collected in theory. And then in theory, I'd collect these worksheets and then I'd pass them back so you can add them to your notebook and keep them. And make sure that the worksheets are completed to the best of your ability, as they will be essential in future open notes assignments. I really do hope that you're able to use what you've learned today in future assignments, which is one of our objectives. Our other objective was to be able to address these problems and have confidence in forming opinions on plant disease and how to address plant disease. Thank you, Alex, for coming. Thank you, Dr. Jagger, for letting me use the thin light. This is Alex's cat that he really wanted to show you.
She came out. She just came out. I'm sorry.
I will cut the recording.